Well, good morning, everyone. Today I had the pleasure of introducing my private member's bill known as the Ending Sentence Reductions for Sexual Predators Act. This bill seeks to amend the criminal code to require courts to impose consecutive sentences rather than concurrent ones when it comes to individuals convicted of sexual offenses. In plain terms, sexual predators will no longer be able to stack their crimes and walk away with a reduced sentence. Each crime will carry its own penalty, and each victim will receive the recognition that they deserve. For over a decade, liberal justice policies have increasingly favored criminals, undermining the safety and dignity of victims and communities alike. Nowhere is this more painfully evident than in the cases of sexual assault. Sexual violence is one of the most devastating violations a person can suffer, stripping away their dignity, their safety, and their trust. Yet multiple sexual assaults are often treated as only one offense, thus minimizing harm, weakening deterrence, and eroding public trust. Since 2015, sexual assaults have increased nearly 75%. Folks, let that sink in for a moment. 75%. And offenses against children by 120%. Liberal reforms have repeatedly prioritized repeat offenders, sending the wrong message that protecting predators matters more than protecting Canadians. This practice is wrong, and it must end. Sexual predators should never receive reduced sentences. That's right. Let me say it again. Never should they receive a reduced sentence. It is long overdue that we put victims ahead of criminals. And I hope that I can count on the support of all members of Parliament in this place because Canadians are asking for this. They are asking for victims to be put first. I'm happy to answer any questions.
With the other parties, and do you have any indication of whether you'll get support across the aisle for this bill?
I have had conversations with members of all parties. Thus far, I do not have firm commitment from them. Unfortunately, my colleague Kevin Lamoureux today in the House of Commons, when I introduced my bill, I believe politicized this and went on the attack against me. Unfortunately, when he did that, it actually robs from the voices of those that have been sexually assaulted. And it minimizes the crimes that have been committed against them. It makes light of it. And I find that disturbing, and I believe many Canadians do as well.
Can you talk about the systemic problems with the way the justice system handles cases of sexual assault? We've heard this from victims and advocates over the years, but what have you heard in your research in putting together this bill about what the issues are and what needs to be done to solve them?
Well, certainly there are many folks who hesitate coming forward and going through the justice system because they rightfully perceive that criminals are put first, that sentences are often reduced for them. When you have multiple sexual assault victims, often only one penalty is paid. Well, that means that the voices of those other victims didn't matter in that case. Justice wasn't granted to them, but yet they went through the lengthy process of telling their story and probably retelling their story and perhaps even retelling their story in order to seek justice. To victimize and re-victimize victims in that type of system and then not even to dish out the right sentence that that perpetrator deserves is absolutely ludicrous.
That's right. To ask about the gun buyback program, if I may. The minister yesterday had to, kind of walk back his comments that were leaked. What do you make of the fact that he'll be announcing this afternoon a program which he believes that only exists for political reasons?
I'm confused as to how that question relates to the bill that I've brought forward today, which advocates for victims of sexual assault. Perhaps you could tie those two.
It's not related to the bill. I want the Conservative opinion on that.
Okay, thank you. I'll be focused on my bill here today.
Great.
I think Conservatives have been very clear that we will always stand up for law-abiding citizens. And right now, the Liberals are putting criminals ahead of them.
Exactly. That's right.
And in the buyback program, the Liberals are choosing to go after law-abiding citizens rather than the real perpetrators of gun crime. And if the Liberals want to take the safety of this country seriously, then they need to rethink the way that they're acting, and they need to make sure that they're going after the real perpetrators of crime.
That's right, yeah.
Thank you, folks.
Well done.